Welcome everybody to another Zoom call where we take your questions and do our best to answer them. Um, let's just jump right in. Just a reminder, if you need to schedule a time with me, please do that through the self-schedule. We don't have as many staff as we used to, and I need to automate as many things as possible. So if you could do the self-schedule, that would help a lot. Okay, first question. Is there any benefit to holding your coffee enema beyond the 15 minutes? If there's benefit to multiple coffee enemas a day, why not in holding it longer when you
Yeah.
in trouble? Um, the the answer there would be no, not really. Um, because you'll start to just absorb the caffeine and you'll just absorb the coffee in general, the fluid as well as the caffeine. So you've gone beyond the stimulation and you're just absorbing the fluid. So going beyond 15 minutes, no, don't need to. Um, is there a benefit to multiple coffee enemas per day? Yes. And why not holding it longer if you're going to the trouble? It's because the purpose of the coffee enema is to stimulate the vagal nerve, the parasympathetic cranial nerve 10, the vagus nerve. So vagal nerve stimulation is the whole purpose behind the coffee enema, to stimulate detox pathways, stimulate flushing of the liver, stimulate your bile motion, stimulate your immune function, calm you, all the benefits of parasympathetic stimulation. So doing it more often, yes, beneficial. And in Max Gerson's protocol, he had people that were critically ill doing 5 a day. So that's what you want to do. Will drinking greens first break a fast? Well, technically, yes. So drinking greens first. If you're doing a true fast, the answer is yes, it would break a fast. Technically, if you're doing a true fast, you could only drink tea and technically non-caffeinated tea. It has to be like an herbal, you know, flower blend or something. That's really the only thing you could drink besides water if you're going to not break a fast. And even some herbal teas can technically break a fast. So if you're truly doing just a water fast, then it has to be a water fast. But it depends on what you're doing the fast for. If you're just trying to help your body clean out and you're on a time restricted eating and you're not eating your meal till 3 o'clock and your feeding time is 3 to 6 or 3 to 8 or something like that, then don't worry about that. Then getting the nutrients is important. It really depends on why you're doing a fast. So if you're doing a fast for, you know, for reasons of just helping to heal your body, then I'd say go ahead and take your supplements, drink your greens. Don't worry about breaking the fast or not following the rules of the fast. If you're doing a fast to really reset your metabolism and lose weight and do a true water fast, then you can't drink greens first or protein shakes or anything like that, or even take your supplements because you're really truly doing a water fast to lose weight. Um, well, there's such things as like a greens first fast. There's lots of ways to fast. So fast means depriving yourself of something. That's all it means, is making a choice to eliminate something. You could fast television. You could fast, junk food. That those are all forms of fast. But if you're talking about you're doing a fast to reset your metabolism and lose weight, then you really want to be on a water fast for that period of time, not taking anything in. If you're doing a fast for the purpose of just trying to get healthy, um, then um, you should take your supplements too. Can I buy the individual components of the Clear Immunopack? I tried to figure it out, but some are sold by different names. Is there an upcharge for the convenience? So it might be cheaper to buy them individually. I don't know. I've never sat and figured out the math on it. So, um, yeah, you can use, you know, you can do anything you want. Remember, anything I told you nutrition-wise, that's what I'm recommending. You can do whatever you want. So, if you don't want to take the zinc that I recommended, and you have the exact same zinc by another brand, go by all means take that. You have it. I hate to have you waste supplements. But how I test you is with the supplements that I'm recommending. So you are, if it's the exact same thing, taking magnesium malate by, any company is going to be the same magnesium malate typically. But if you're taking, a berberine by one company, it's not going to be the same thing as a berberine by another company. A lot of supplement companies, especially inexpensive supplements, are inexpensive because they're watered down, without water, but powdered. I told you before that there's been studies done where they went to Target and Walmart and it's the vitamin store, I forgot, and a couple other stores, and they bought some ashwagandha and some different herbal supplements, and they tested them, and the one that tested best had like 10% of what was on the label. So there's just a lot of, bad stuff out there. There's lots of times there's a reason why some things are less expensive because they're not really what's on the label, and they get by because nobody tests them. So if you're not getting them from a reputable company, you're just taking that chance. Is the sale you currently have on the Clear Immunopack $10 off the $99 price? No, I think that's the price that's on there. So what price is on there is the price. That's the $10 off price. So we've had at that for the last 6 months, and probably won't change that. How many drops are in the lymph stem liquescence bottle? Um, I don't know how many ounces that is, but lymph stem, I think a 2-ounce bottle has 300 drops. Maybe it's a 1-ounce bottle has 300 drops. These are things you could Google. So look up how many drops in a 1-ounce bottle of water, or how many drops in a 2-ounce, and look that up. Um, Limb stim is 4 ounces, so there's at least 600 drops in there. Um, so that would last you a long time. Based on my genetic testing, May 2023, pro-hydroxycobalamin, 1 lozenge a day, and phase 2, 2 per day were recommended. These are not on the newest supplement list. Are these no longer necessary for me? So when I test people, I'm testing them what is on their cancer things, not on what is genetic. So the genetic thing isn't based upon, when we make a recommendation based upon your genetics, it's not based upon kinesiology testing. It's based upon what was on your genetics. So this is a really good question, and it needs clarification. I don't always add that to your thing. So what you were recommended to do from a genetic standpoint, you should always stay on that. Um, Really indefinitely. Your genetics don't change. Your genes don't get better. They only get worse. So yes, they can get worse. So if you ran a new genetics maybe you ran your genetics 10 years ago and you run a new one, it could be different because you could have more defects. Why? Because what causes defects? Well, you inherit defects from your parents, but you also acquire defects from your environment. So if you're exposed to a toxin, AKA like chemotherapy, and you run your genetics post chemotherapy, it could be worse because toxins affect your genes, and you could have damaged genes, and you could have worse genetics that would not be any close to being out of the question. So when the recommendations are based upon your genetics, they're based upon your genetics, and those don't change. As per my recent updated cheek swab list, you advised me to take MycoPul 2 caps per day. Is this zeolite? So MycoPul, let me pull it up, is a zeolite product. It also has charcoal, it has humic and fulvic acid, it has zeolite, it has microchitosan. Chitosan is a type of bentonite that particularly stays in the gut. It is a great binder in the gut. It has silica from bamboo extract. You told me to continue to take this zeolite that you had. This is what you had. Also, I have this already. Is zeolite for detoxing mycotoxins. Zeolite is not solely for detoxing mycotoxins. Zeolite is a chelate, so it can chelate heavy metals. It can chelate all sorts of different things. If I'm getting the mold and mildew eradicated from our house, how long should I take this? So you take what we could do another cheek swab and we could test whether you still need it. But we're not trying to so understand I created a blog post on the different things that different problems that a person will have with mold exposure. So with mold exposure, you could have acute mold exposure to the fungi itself, to the mold itself. So you breathe in the mold, you have that exposure to the mold. That is a pathogen that your immune system will fire against to kill that pathogen. That could make a person sick for a period of time, like aspergillus. That's going to make a person sick. They have an acute immune reaction. They fire an immune Th1 reaction to kill that pathogen. It's a pathogen, a living organism. That is typically only in the acute phase. You're not going to have long-standing, typically, fungal infection in your body. The second issue that you have with mold exposure is the mycotoxins. Not the mold itself, it's what the mold produces. So aspergillus and other molds produce toxins, and we could breathe in those toxins. We could be exposed to those toxins through different foods. Most commonly, it's through mold in the home or moldy building syndrome. Those toxins are totally different than the living organism. So the toxins are just like any other toxin. It's not a living organism. It can fire an immune response, but the immune system will do nothing with a toxin. Your immune system can't kill mercury. Your immune system can't kill lead. Your immune system can't kill mycotoxins. Why? Because none of those things are living. Mycotoxins, like other toxins, can settle in your tissues and cause damage. They can damage tissues themselves. They are themselves oxidizing agents. They can damage cell membranes. If they go inside the cell, they can damage the nucleus. They can be a cause of cancer. That's why on a mycotoxin test, you'll see that different types of mycotoxins, like ochratoxins, have been shown to cause cancer, to be cancer-causing agents. Well, the truth is anything that gets inside the cell can disrupt the nucleus of the cell and damage the DNA and cause it to go in rapid replication, causing cancer. So 3 different things that could be an issue with mold. I said the living organism, that's typically only in the acute phase. Number 2 is mycotoxins. These are poisons that will stay in your system indefinitely if you don't get them out. So zeolite is pulling out those. It's not pulling out the mold. It's pulling out mycotoxins. Well, if I have acute mold, what would I take? Well, I don't usually have to address that with cancer patients because you're usually dealing with it. Anything you're going to do to stimulate the immune system is going to help kill mold. You're already on immune stimulators. But let's say somebody doesn't have cancer, they contact me and acute aspergillus is their problem. Then I use something like FungaClear. That is something that will help kill those things. Mycopull is to pull mycotoxins. Doesn't specifically just do mycotoxins. It's going to help pull other toxins. No chelator is going to be specific totally to just mycotoxins. It's going to help pull other toxins and heavy metals and all sorts of poisons out of your body. The third way that you're affected by mold is if you're exposed to mold, you could end up creating antibodies to mold spores. These are typically IgE antibodies. And those are the people that you know you have that. You don't even have to test for that because you know I have it because those are people that are super sensitive to any kind of mold. You might know somebody like that, that, oh my gosh, I can't go to that meeting because when we meet in that building, at that school meeting, I just feel, oh my gosh, I can just tell. Can't you smell that? Oh my gosh, I got a headache. I don't feel good. You know, these people, they're not crazy. They do have an IgE reaction to mold spores. Whereas their husband might be going, what, are you nuts? I don't smell anything. Don't you smell that mold? Oh my gosh, I got such a headache. These people can be listed as hypochondriacs, but really they may have IgE antibodies to mold spores. So when they breathe them in, they're hypersensitive to them and they have a reaction that's an ill reaction. Does zeolite remove other toxins from the body? I answered that. Is that it? Do you have any supplement sales or discounts coming up, and do you share those ahead of time? Well, I share them with you as soon as we get them. We don't have any right now. Um, if ordering more than one bottle with the subscribe and save off checked, will the same number of bottles be shipped or does it default back to one item? But when you subscribe to something, you're subscribing to individual products. We have people that subscribe to 20 different things. We have people that subscribe to 3 things. We have people that make multiple subscriptions because they have one subscription that they get every 3 weeks and another subscription they get every 6 weeks with 3 other different things. So you have to kind of plan that out. Does the 5% subscription discount apply to sale or discounted products as well? And typically, it depends. If we do have fire sales all the time, and that has to do with products that are put on fire sale because they're at expiration date. Now, understand a product at expiration date. The expiration date on products are put there because the FDA requires it. But the truth is, there's a lot of products that literally never expire. A mineral, multi-mins or something like that, magnesium, zinc, that will never, ever expire. Products that are antioxidants are never going to expire. I'll give you an example. One company that we use tested a product that they had in their warehouse that one of the CEOs was holding because it was one of the first products they ever made back in like 1970 or 1965 or something. So they thought, oh, this would be fun. Let's send a few of these to the lab to see how they test. It tested at 90% of its listed capacity after like 50 years. And the reason is because it had antioxidants in it. So if anything that has antioxidants in it, it's literally got a forever shelf life. So don't throw out those supplements that have antioxidants in it. So, but we can't really sell them once they reach expiration. So we put them on discounted, heavily discounted, and those you cannot do a subscription on those because those are a limited number. We might only have 5 of something or 2 of something. When on a 1-month subscription plan, will the supplements be shipped so as not to interrupt daily consumption? When you have put in a subscription, and let's say you do it on the 5th of February, and it's on a 1-month, the 5th of every month, it's going to produce in our store, and it comes up in the store as a subscription, and then we fill it. So if you want it before that, then you have to time that. You have to figure out the timing of that. So we fill it, it automatically populates. So that's what our system does. So it will automatically populate how you create that subscription. So if you have some things that you need every 30 days, and then you have other things that you need every 45 days, you might want to create multiple subscriptions based upon that. Well, I need this every 30 days, but I only need this every 60 days. So you'll have to create, maybe you have 3 things that you need every 60 days, 2 things you need every 30 days. Well, you're going to have 2 subscriptions then. One will be for the ones you need every 30 days, will be that. Or you could have 1 subscription, but you'll get 2 bottles of this and 1 bottle of that. That's something you're going to have to figure out. We don't really have the staff to do that. So um, please do your math, figure out your math on that. Do internal parasites quickly become immune to ivermectin or Fenbid? I've been taking ivermectin for quite a while, about 3 months, switched to the paste. Do not notice any improvement or Hoxsey. Um, well, the Fenbid and the ivermectin, as far as parasite killers, are, hold on 1 second. Oh, yeah. Also, Megan said with the subscription thing here, you have to factor in shipping too. So just remember that, so wherever you are, I mean, we will typically fill the order the day it comes in. But if you set this up on a Friday afternoon, it's not going to get filled till next Monday, because our hours are, we typically close at 2:30 on a Friday. It's not going to get filled till next Monday, and then it's going to take several days to get there. So you're going to have to do that. You have to figure that out too. It's best to plan ahead as much as possible. As far as internal parasites becoming immune to ivermectin and Fenbid, I would say I don't think that that happens. I would caution you against thinking that all your problems are from parasites. So, um, yes, people can have parasites. Ivermectin and Fenbid do kill parasites, but they kill specific parasites, mainly parasites that are really intestinal. Some that might be in the liver with liver flukes, but they're not going to kill what a parasite might have done to a person. So let me give you an example. It's very common with people with Lyme disease that maybe have been diagnosed with Lyme disease 10 years ago, let's say, and they still have symptoms, that they're blaming it on the Lyme disease still. Well, of course, I got this all when I got a tick bite 10 years ago. I've never been the same since. Okay, so let's differentiate whether our symptoms are from a current infection or from the effects of a past infection. Really hard to get people to understand this, especially if there are these line groups on Facebook and all this stuff. Everything is blamed on this disease, just like you can blame everything on parasites or blame everything on whatever. Okay. Um, we have to understand physiology. 99% of the time, your body will take care of things. Your immune system will kill things, especially if you ate it, like in the case of a parasite, which is a multi-celled organism. So it's much more difficult for your immune system to kill. If you take ivermectin and Fenbid and some parasite-killing nutritional things, you can kill the parasite. But then why do I still have problems now, X amount of months, X amount of years later? Because a parasite, just like a bacteria like Borrelia burgdorferi that causes Lyme disease, could be long gone, years and years, a decade ago. It's dead. It's not even in your body anymore, but it did damage. It went intracellular. Your immune system tried to kill it intracellular, started to make antibodies against different cell tissue lines. And now you have self-tissue antibodies. You guys, if you're really interested in this stuff, you've got to go on our autoimmune, chronic disease and autoimmune module and start watching some of those videos, because that's how you're going to learn about this stuff. You're not going to find it on Instagram and Facebook. So you have to understand that most people that think that they have parasites after they've done a ton of different parasite cleanses, or think that they have Lyme disease, or think that they have this constant virus that they're trying to kill and just can't kill Lyme disease. I can't figure out why I can't try to kill Lyme disease. I got this flare again. I'm not discounting their symptoms. I'm saying, what are they really from? They're not from the living organism still present. They're from, because the living organism was there at a specific time in in your life, doesn't mean it's still there, but it doesn't mean it didn't do damage. So you could have all sorts of things from it. You could have microglial priming in the brain. You could have autoimmune formation, meaning your body created immune antibodies against self-tissue. And that's really what your symptoms and your flares are from. You need to go onto that course and learn that stuff for you and your loved ones, because that's a big reason why a person has chronic comorbidities. Now, when you're dealing with cancer, your main focus on is killing cancer. Once you are in a state of remission, now you're going to start focusing on what else can I do to deal with these other symptoms I have in my body. Well, you got to figure out what it is and what you need to, what they actually are. So running some antibody tests can be beneficial. And just because a person has cancer doesn't mean they don't have comorbidities of autoimmune disease. That's why I created that whole course for you guys to learn that. So go start digging into that. Are you familiar with Akkermansia, which is a probiotic? Yes, a friend ran across it as a probiotic, and that it's said to help with side effects and recovery of Keytruda immunotherapy. I had 3 rounds of Keytruda with chemo, last one in early November. My side effects were itchy, rashy skin, now Hashimoto's. I'm wondering if my bloating, distended belly could be from the Keytruda or an extension of Keytruda and Hashimoto's. So when you have Keytruda, so Keytruda is an immunotherapy that blocks the PD-1 receptor, which is the receptor that tells on T cells, that tells them not to attack self-tissue. Well, when you take a drug that blocks that, now you start attacking self-tissue. So the side effect of Keytruda and other immunotherapy drugs is that you could end up with an autoimmune disease. Now, once you have an autoimmune disease, you have self-antibodies. That's what an autoimmune disease is. Go back to that course and start learning that. Can you take this probiotic and see if that helps with your gut? Sure. You can change, and I recommend that you change up probiotics on a regular basis. You prescribe the Mycotox even though I have the zeolite. Yes, because that's what tested on you. And the Mycotox has other things than just the zeolite that you have. So you can take both. If you order 5 of something on a subscription, your subscription remains for 5 of that thing. Correct. That's right. So Megan is the shipping king. That's right. She is. So if you do order 5 of something, you're going to get 5, either 5 different products or 5 of one product. You're going to get that every month or every 2 weeks or every 6 weeks or whatever you set up that subscription. So make sure you don't do that, because if you accidentally mess that up and you get multiple things that you don't need, in order for you to send that back, we have to charge a restocking fee. And technically, if it's in somebody's house and if it's open, you can't get anything back at all. So, I mean, you just please be careful and sit down and write it out what you need and do with that. Also, is zeolite technically a binder, and will it bind to other minerals and things in my body? Should we be taking it away from food and other supplements? No, I mean, what is taking any chelator? So my definition of between a chelator and a binder is a binder stays in your gut and a chelator is absorbed. Now, there's a lot of things that act as binders in your gut and will cross the gut border and act as chelators in your tissue. So is it better to take all chelators / binders away from food? Well, in a perfect world, yes. And away from other supplements. In a perfect world, yes. Is it always necessary? Is it always realistic? No. But yeah, in a perfect world, it'd be better to take all chelators and all binders away from other foods. Sometimes it's very difficult for people. So I don't always state that. I do state it on all the binders that are staying in your gut to take those away from food. I just watched one of your videos on glutamates. So this is fun. I used to really like Doritos. Why? Because they have MSG or glutamate in it to tell your brain that you love it. So at Christmas, I had a couple Jubilee days and was very excited about Doritos, another junk food I used to really like and splurge on pre-cancer. I used to splurge on pre-cancer. It was such a letdown in a fabulous way to no longer like the junk food, including Doritos. Wow, that's that's great that you didn't like it because most people instantly it's going to fire a glutamate reaction to the brain. So it's great that you did. You know, there's other options out there. There is a oh, that's that paleo brand that uh that this family created Siete brand. There's a Siete brand chip that is has no MSG, nothing in it. That is, and they have a flavor that's very similar to Doritos. You should try that. It's very good. I was reading that turmeric is a phytoestrogen. I take quite a bit. Both you and my local practitioner muscle tested me on it and said it was good for me. Should I worry about it since my breast cancer was ER positive and I'm not taking the hormone blockers? Um, no, I wouldn't worry about it. It tested well for you. Now, if you do want to really make sure your levels are at a good level, run the Dutch test. So if you have any concern of exposure to um, exogenous estrogens in any form, which we're all exposed to exogenous estrogens, um, run the Dutch test and see if where your estrogen levels are at. That's a good thing to do. So yeah, the Siete brand, they're all really good um, chips. So that could be a substitute for the person that asked. How far away from other supplements should the zeolite be taken? So typically you say 30 minutes away from other supplements. But the truth is, it's a hard game to play because um, it depends on how fast your intestinal transit time is. You know, it depends on how much food you have in the gut. Well, I haven't eaten for 30 minutes. Well, it depends on how much was there. So there's a lot of unknowns there. But typically, you say 30 to 60 minutes away from food and other supplements is the safest thing to do. I wish the Siete brand was organic. Tell me about it. So many of the paleo things, the gluten-free things, are not organic. And you have to argue that, if it's not organic, you know, how good is it for you to do? So now there's a lot of things now that are gluten-free, but they're non-GMO and they do have, other promises on their label. But there's a lot of gluten-free stuff out there, because most of my family is gluten-free, that is not non-GMO. Well, it's horrible for you. This stuff is garbage. And it's very frustrating. You just go back to growing all your own food and eating all your own food that you grow. And learning how to can and learning how to freeze dry and learning how to dehydrate and learning how to put up potatoes and learn how to do all that stuff. Um, it's difficult. I mean, it gets to be a pain for sure. Might my bloated stomach be from Hashimoto or something else? And should a probiotic help? Well, a probiotic isn't going to help Hashimoto. So if you have Hashimoto's, you also have to make sure absolutely, positively that you are gluten free. So gluten is a molecular mimic cross-reactant to thyroglobulin. So you cannot eat gluten. So again, go to the autoimmune course. I have an entire module on Hashimoto's. So make sure you look at that if you haven't. But if you're eating gluten, um, dairy can be a cross-reactant to gluten. If you're eating gluten and dairy with Hashimoto, anything's game. I mean, that could be it. Also, consider doing a Cyrex 10 if you have bloating. If you're not if you're already taking um, HCl with digestive enzymes, consider upping that for a period of time. If doing a Cyrex 10 is out of the financial consideration. Um, so all those things to think about with Hashimoto's. Um, Hashimoto's in itself is not going to cause bloating, but comorbidities that go along with Hashimoto's, which are food sensitivities, gluten definitely cross-reacted inflammation, creating antibodies to gluten and dairy, um, are all causes of bloating and brain fog, brain inflammation. So be careful of all of those things. Not eating dairy or gluten or sugar, and haven't in quite a while, except for my Jubilee days. Um, so the getting tested for cross-reactive foods might be something you want to look at too. So if a person is like, I have Hashimoto's and I've been gluten-free and dairy-free for years and I'm still having these issues, well, you could have other issues with other foods. So when you have autoimmune, when you have antibodies to your self tissue, anything that's going to cause inflammation is going to cause your immune system to get worse. That's the problem when you have cancer. So when you have cancer, you have to be stimulating your immune system to kill the cancer, but every time you're stimulating your immune system, you're affecting your autoimmunity. So it's a catch-22, but it's like, okay, well, I'm going to deal with these symptoms of Hashimoto's and kill my cancer, or am I gonna, you know, you know, let succumb to cancer and have less Hashimoto symptoms? So it's you have to play with that balance. Another praise is that my memory and brain fog are getting better. Am I doing celery juice for 2 weeks? It might be that. Improvements come with celery juice. Well, sure, they can. Anything you're doing is good. You're decreasing inflammation, so that's good. All right, we are going to close for the night. Thanks for being on. I'll be praying for you all, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Bye-bye.